Hey guys, it's your guy Bo here, and today we've got a book review that is probably unlike anything that I've done before, because we're going to be reviewing several books, and then we're going to be reviewing a book that takes place within those books. But I know that might sound strange, but you'll see. So we're going to be reviewing the Jedi Academy Trilogy, and we are also going to be reviewing Jedi. We're going to be reviewing the Academy Trilogy first. Now, the Jedi Academy Trilogy, it came out in the 90s. It takes place after Dark Empire. I have not read those comics yet, but I do plan on doing that eventually. Once I read more Star Wars books, I'm going to put them on the back burner until I read the comics. But yeah, it focuses on Luke setting up his Jedi Academy and dealing with the last few threats of the Imperial Remnant, as well as the emergence of some of the most iconic characters that we're going to see, like Dala and Kip Duron. There was one Jedi who was mentioned, like Kip Duron shows up in here, which I didn't know this is where he made his first appearance, but there was a Jedi named Vima Daboda. I think that's how you say her name. But yeah, I had seen a picture of her years ago, and I'd wondered who she was. I couldn't remember her name for the life of me. But then when I finally found her, either on Instagram or after looking her up from this book, I was like, oh, that's who it was. It all makes sense. But yeah, we've got Jedi Search. This is where things start to set up. It's where Luke finds how to search for force sensitives, like technology that can be used to pick them up, like to detect them, and for finding a place for his Jedi Academy, which would be the old rebel base on Yavin 4, which would become the Jedi Praxium. But Dala actually does not show up until really late in this book. It's like pretty far in. But Dala, she is from in this book all the way up until Fate of the Jedi. And yeah, I've got a long way to go before I get to read Fate of the Jedi. But I found that this book has 322 pages. Or, nope, 354. Sorry. And so does this one. But this one has 322, but I'll get to it later. But anyways, this is, it's Jedi Search, Dark Apprentice, and Champions of the Force. This Dark Apprentice has Exar Kun in it. Same thing with Champions of the Force. But in this book, Kirana T is in it. She actually made her debut in The Courtship of Princess Leia, but I had forgotten about that because it wasn't until I looked her up where it showed a dialogue between her and Tenonil Joe where Tenonil tells her to go out and fight, and Kirana T points out how she burst a blood vessel in her face. But Exar Kun takes over the mind of Gantoris, and later he gets a hold of Kip Duron, and Luke is left, like, he's not dead, but he's not quite alive, and so the Jedi students are left on their own. But something to note is Kip blasts Luke with Force lightning, but it describes it as black cracks in the Force. So that most likely means that Kip Duron used black Force lightning. And if that's the case, well, I'm pretty sure that is, but the only other one besides him in the lore who used black Force lightning was Jaina Solo in the New Jedi Order books. And I think if my memory serves me right, Kip Duron was the one who taught her, like he brought her back from the edge of the dark side because she nearly lost herself. But Mara Jade also shows up in these books, but she's not really a major character, more like a supporting character, and even so just a small one. But yeah, the Sun Crusher, it's as big as a starfighter, but it can house several people. And to me, that's kind of contradictory because a starfighter is only big enough for like one person. But I think it only takes really one person to fly it, while it can carry several passengers. And in Champions of the Force, we see Exar Kun be defeated by the students at the Jedi Academy, Kip Durin eventually being redeemed, but not before he wipes out a lot of the Imperial Remnant. But Dala nearly dies, but she narrowly avoids death, and she flees, but she next appears in Darksaber. It's going to be a while before I get that, but I do plan on getting it. And Exar Kun, I can't... Part of me believes that this is where Exar Kun made his debut, but I think that was in the comics, like with Nomi Sunrider, Hewlett Keldroma, and Mark, and those characters. I can't remember when they came out, maybe the 80s, but yeah, Luke is like, his spirit's outside his body. He's suspended between life and death, and they have to work on trying to get him back, and he eventually does, and they go to like get rid of the Maw installation, but the Death Star prototype becomes a problem after Dahl and her Star Destroyers leave the Maw. The Maw installation just has the Stormtroopers, turbo lasers, and the Death Star prototype, so they leave in that through the Maw, then they come back around, and yeah, it's kind of like they turn it into a mobile battle station, but like it only just has the laser, the one laser. And the Death Star prototype was powerful enough to where it could only destroy the core of a planet, rendering it uninhabitable. It couldn't make it blow up. But Kui Zooks, I think that's how you say her name, who makes her debut in Jedi Search, she was completely ignorant of the weapons that she designed. Like, she thought the Death Star and the Sun Crusher would do certain, like, other things, but they were weapons of mass destruction, and she helped build them. But I will say that these were all really pleasant books to read. Like Mara, Lando, Han, Leia, the Jedi Apprentices, Dala, like they all shine in this book. I really liked it. And if I had to say which one was my favorite, I'd have to say it's Champions of the Force. Because yeah, like it all wraps up very satisfyingly. And Mon Mothma, like, she gets poisoned because she gets splashed with a drink that's got nanobots in it that are attacking her cells, killing them off and slowly killing her. But Master Silgal saves her, but even so, like, she never fully recovers and she dies before the Yuzon Vong War. Yeah, this is where she got sick. But these were really fun to read. I liked reading them. They were really pleasant, and Jaina and Jason Solo, they have their own little adventures in this book. They get to be, like, it shows them being mischievous little toddlers. They're not even 3 years old, but while also helping save Luke and Jason having his moment. It's fun. But the next one is I, Jedi. This is probably the only Star Wars book that's written in first person from the perspective of just one character, which is Corran Horn. Now, I initially didn't plan on getting this, but the only reason why I got it was because a post on Instagram said that this was, like, it was a guide to Mara Jade in Legends, and it said that this was a recommended book because it shows her character growth. And so I got it, and I'm wondering when Mara's going to show up. And then I look up, and it says that she doesn't have a major role in this. And I'm thinking, oh, so that guy was fucking lying to me. Like, he was telling a lie. But then I was reading, and I was like, oh, so it does show character growth. I was wrong. But yeah, the book is really flimsy, and the pages are really thin. Not sure if you can hear just how thin they are, but they're really thin to turn, and this book is just written from Corran Horn's perspective, but it actually takes place during the events of books 2 and 3 of the Jedi Academy trilogy from Corran's perspective, because he was under an alias during the time of these books, and it covers the events afterwards, and he actually was instrumental in destroying Exar Kun's spirit, because he actually confronts him in his temple on Yavin 4, and while it seems like Exar Kun gets the upper hand after Corran Horn initially laughs at him, Mara actually shows up and she helps fend him off while the Jedi students destroy his spirit. But Mara and Corran actually get along really well in this book, and if I'm not mistaken, later on, Corran has a son named Valenhorn, but basically, Corran is the descendant of a notable Jedi, and his wife goes missing, and he has to develop his Jedi skills in order to go save her. But he quits Luke's Jedi Academy out of frustration, and Luke is not happy about that because with everything that's going on. But Corran assures him it's not him, like it's not his fault. And I find it strange that Corran isn't really good at telekinesis. But again, like the Horns apparently aren't. And like when he finds out where his wife is, like he has to do his best to infiltrate they're not really necessarily Imperials, they're more like Imperials turned pirates. And pirates who join together with Imperials. And he has to risk like losing himself to the dark side by doing things that would be unethical, but would get him to his wife, and he can't let the end justify the means. And while I will say I wasn't really a fan of this book at first, I only got it for Mara, but I came to really like it. And of course, like Mara plays her big role. She Corran gets his wife back, and of course they do have kids with Valenhorn. But yeah, overall, I think it was a nice touch how this book covers the events of books 2 and 3 of the Jedi Academy trilogy just from Corran's perspective. I think it was a pretty decent touch, a nice touch. But Michael A. Stackpole, he wrote several NJO books, but it's going to be a while before I get there. I'm actually going to be putting Star Wars books on the back burner after I read the Hand of Thrawn duology. I'm reading a Star Wars book right now, and then after I read that, I'm going to read the duology, and then I'm going to put them on the back burner for a bit. And I'm going to read 3 more Star Wars books, and I'm going to stop reading them until I read the Dark Empire comics, the Mara Jade by the Emperor's Hand comics, and the Union comics. But then I'll continue. But yeah, overall, these books, I really liked them. These I liked more than this one. But it was just ultimately really satisfying. It was really good for me to read. I enjoyed it, and I would recommend like these, like if you like Mara and if you like Luke. But yeah, that's really all I had to say. I know this was probably a rather shorter book review, but yeah, I just want to tell you like what all I thought about these books and how cool they were. They're from the 90s, I believe. But yeah, overall, it's just, they were good to read. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed my book review where I'm giving my thoughts on these books, and don't really know when my next video will be, because this is actually the first video I've made since my senior year of college has started. I don't know when I'll make my next one because I'm going to be really busy. Yeah, but until then, I love you all. I will hopefully try to make some videos to appease you, like in between before my next book review. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.